Yo, what's going on, everybody? Los here, coming back at you with another video. And this time, this is my haul video from Terrificon 2026. So this year, I was able to go for 2 days. Got some signatures on the first day, and then did some digging on the second day. Well, did some digging on the first day too. And I was able to get this stack of books right there. Look at that. Yeah, right there. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show some video that I got on the floor. You know, a little bit of digging. Probably didn't get as much video as I would like. You know, I'll get into that a little later, but we'll get into that footage and we'll come back and see the books I got. All right, so you know what to do. Hop on that train, take a journey with me. All right, so we're back. Hopefully, you enjoyed that footage. I'm not sure. I try to break it up into probably like day one and day two and stuff like that. I did some walking along the floor. Went to Artist Alley, and it just one of those things where I'm not the best field YouTuber, right? I'm not very like eccentric like that, right? I'm very much of an introvert. So when I go out, I really don't converse that much unless I know the people. I'm not one to like strike up a conversation, stuff like that. So maybe that's why I don't get good deals and stuff like that. Who knows? But it's just one of those things where I usually put my head down, just kind of go digging and stuff like that. But it was fun. This is probably like the third or fourth year that I've gone to Terrificon. Always a good time. There's always a lot of artists there, a lot of vendors. You can always find some good comics. But I'm not one that usually goes to these shows to pick up big books, right? I know there's some people that's what they do. They go and they pick up these Grail books and all these. That's not me, right? I feel like most of the books are usually overpriced. Unless you're like really looking for like something very specific. But most books are going to be overpriced. Keys and stuff like that are going to be overpriced. If you do any kind of trades, usually it's in the negative side for you. You have to trade 18 books for one. And, so it just never really works out that way for me anyway. I mean, again, maybe the introvert in me, maybe I just, my face doesn't look very, inviting. But I usually like to go digging through boxes that are either, dollar bins, $2 bins, half off bins, stuff like that. That's usually where, my bread and butter is for these shows. My only, public service announcement for any kind of like con or anything like that is, earmuffs for the kids or whoever is watching or you're sensitive, but please, for the love of fucking God, wear deodorant. I don't understand. You're gonna be at a convention. You're gonna be in a place where there's a lot of people. Everybody's close by, and it's just like, what the fuck? Like, please. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but it's just like, come on, man. Like, even if this is the one fucking day you do it, put on deodorant. You know what I mean? Like, take a fucking shower, put on deodorant, because it's just, I don't want to smell your fucking body odor when I'm digging through books and shit. Or like we're standing in line or we're... Come on. Like, just, like, understand your surroundings, So, sorry for that. That's my, PDA announcement, public service announcement or whatever, PSA. But yeah, just, I can't. That's the one thing that just gets me every single time. But with that out of the way, everything was good. It was great running into, some of the people that I know, the guys at 3 Men in the Basement, always run into those guys. They're kind of in the area. Ran into, Josh from Broke Boys Comics, ran into, the other Josh, from Josh's Comics. So Joshua and then, Josh. And then, I ran into Mariano's comic collectibles. So, all these people that I'm mentioning, I'm going to put their links to their channels below. But I met him for the first time, so that was awesome. Got a chance to chat with him. I've been kind of like talking to him through like our videos and stuff. And, cool dude. He was getting a bunch of signatures, so I'm pretty sure his video is going to be crazy with all the books. He had like a short box of books that he wanted to get signed. I'm not sure if he was able to get everything just because a lot of artists, kind of canceled last minute. I even had some books that I wasn't able to get signed just because they just didn't show up. So my previous video, I think I did like 7 books I was going to get signed. It ended up getting cut down to 4. So it is what it is, right? Actually saved me a little bit of money and a little bit of time online. One thing I will say about the lines for getting signatures, obviously, like Chris Claremont and stuff like that, is always going to be long lines. But what I did appreciate this year from CGC is they did like a floating witness, right? So you didn't have to go to the booth anymore and then wait for a witness to be available and then kind of go with a large group of people to one artist and then kind of walk back. And then you didn't have to do that, right? So you can just take your books, go to whatever area you were going to get artists get signed, and basically just like flag down a witness that was in the area floating around, and just let them know, hey, I need a witness. I'm going to be doing that. Which book you're getting? You know, they wrote a little card for you with what book you're getting signed, by who's getting signed by. You know, wrote your name on it. So then when you did get it signed, if you were done, they threw it in the little baggie, you know, to make sure that it's not, you know, tamper proof or whatever. And then, you know, if you go into another artist, then you just rip it out of the bag, get it signed again, and then put it back in the bag, zip it up. And then when you go back to the CGC booth, you have all your books, you know, zipped up, and then you could give it to them. They open it up there, and then you do your whole thing. So I thought that worked out excellent. I preferred that. It made it so much easier to flag down a CGC witness. The witnesses were actually really cool. You know, very helpful. So that was awesome. And but yeah, you know, it was just overall great experience with that. So hopefully they keep that up in other shows that CGC shows up to. So that'd be pretty cool. Yeah. So, and other than that, like I said, I got a little bit of digging done that Saturday. And then Sunday, I was able to do just full digging. Disclaimer, I don't remember the booth names and people who were selling, stuff like that. I just walked over to booths and, you know, started digging, right? The name of booths and cards, again, I'm an introvert. I don't really talk that much when I'm doing this. So, you know, it is what it is, right? But enough of the yapping. You know, that was, I don't know, 20 minutes of just yapping, I guess. We're going to get into the books that I was able to get, right? So let's do this. Okay, so we got the comic can open. And so the first book up is this one right here. So I kind of broke it up by where I got the books from. So I don't know. This one particularly, I think I do know who I got these from, but the rest of them I really don't know. So I'm breaking everything up based on the bundles of where I got stuff, right? So I think it was like nine vendors that I bought from. This first vendor is actually Very Gary Comics. He had one side that was like, you know, the big major stuff or whatever, you know, bigger keys, and then the back side he had like all like dollar bin books and stuff. So thought it was pretty cool. Or $2 books, but if you got 10 or 7 books, they came out to $10, so it's a little cheaper. So I got these right here, and at the end I'll tally up everything that I paid for all the books. So the first one up is this guy right here, and you know, I know what you're thinking, like cross-gen primer, you know, Wizard exclusive. What the hell is this crap? So this is actually the first partial cover of Joshua Middleton. So Joshua Middleton is one of my favorite artists, and he did one character on this cover, and this was his first cover art. So I like to, even though it's not a valuable book, I like to collect artists that I like. I like to get their first works, and this is his first work. So thought it was just pretty cool that I, you know, able to get it in for $2 or actually less than that. So thought that was pretty cool. So that's one right there. Next one is one that I'm pretty sure I have this book already, but in my head I was like, I needed 7 books and I got it anyway. Again, but I got it just because it's Fantastic Four number 26. I believe this is like volume 2 or 3 or something like that. But this is just Doctor Doom is my dude. That's one of my favorite characters. This cover was just ridiculous, right? It's you know, that great 90s 2000 and I love this book. It was actually written by Chris Claremont, which is actually pretty cool. And you know, the one, you know, the time that he was on Fantastic Four, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, just an awesome Doom cover with all the FF characters around him minus Reed Richards, so I thought that was pretty damn cool. So just cool ass cover. So yeah, thought that was interesting to grab. Next one is honestly, I'm not really sure why this book is like hot right now or whatever. But apparently Punisher Armory #1 is selling for like $15 or something like that, $20 or whatever, something crazy. Which I don't know if it's just because it's in short print or whatever, which I doubt, because these like 90s 2000 books were heavily printed. Maybe there's something with it, just because he's in the new Spider-Man movie or something. I'm not sure. But it's like, okay, in back issue bins, and if I could scoop it up, and I don't particularly care about this issue, so yeah, I'll scoop this up for a couple of bucks if I can move it on to get other books. Next, thought this was pretty cool. This is ROM number 32, and this is actually the 4th appearance of Rogue, and she's right there on the cover. So thought that was pretty cool. I like Rogue. She's a pretty cool character. Obviously, she's been heavily involved in the X-Men 97 series, and she's just a cool character. So thought I'd scoop that up. Next, we have this one right here, and this is just spec buy. That's Invincible Iron Man number 53. Again, this is like volume 2 or 3 or something like that. And this is the first appearance of Temujin. I might be butchering that name. He's the son of the Mandarin. And it's also the first appearance of Friday, so the artificial intelligence that's potentially going to be in the new Vision Quest show or something like that. So I was like, again, a quick little spec buy. And if it turns out to be nothing, I didn't spend much on it. Next, again, another of those first works that I was talking about. And we have this one right here. And this is 10th Muse number 7. And this is the first interior artwork from Mark Brooks. I believe his first cover is on this guy right here, Atlas. He had his own book, and I believe Atlas number 1 is like his first cover his first cover work. But this is his first interior work, and again, I love Mark Brooks. Think he's awesome. So whenever I can find some of my favorite artists, first works for cheap, I'm gonna scoop it up. So thought this was pretty cool. And the last book that I got was this guy right here. And I know there was kind of like a little bit of spec on this, but it kind of died down a while ago. A lot of DC books have kind of like fizzled. But this is Brightest Day number 4. This is the first appearance of Jackson Hyde. He's the second Aqualad. So thought it was pretty cool. It was also the first cover appearance of Deathstorm. So I was like, I think I have like 1 or 2 copies of this already, but anytime I could pick up little minor keys for cheap, I'm gonna do it. So I thought it was pretty cool. And like I said, all 7 books were $10, so it ended up being cheaper than $2 a book. So like I said, you got to scoop up those little things when you cheap books when you can. This next one is just the one book that I got from a vendor. They had a bunch of books for like $1 and stuff like that. So looking through, didn't really have much, but I found one little minor key. And there's this one right there. There's Doctor Strange number 44. This is the first appearance of Sidorak. He is the wielder of the crystal that gave Juggernaut his powers. So that was pretty cool. Again, this one fizzled out a little bit as well. But again, it's a nice little minor key, so I'm going to scoop it up for $1. And it's actually in pretty good condition. And it didn't even have a bag and board. I ended up taking this one. There was no book in this one, so I just put that in there. So, again, for $1. And okay, so these next 5 books are from another vendor. So this is the 3rd vendor, and they had everything for. There was one section for $2 books, and then one section for $1 books. So I believe all of these that I'm showing right now are $2 books, and then the last one is $1. Or maybe I'll show the dollar one first. So the one that was $1 was this one right here, and that is Exiles number 5. But this is, I believe, the 70th anniversary border. I know a lot of people collect these, and they want to scoop them up. I know they had the 50th anniversary and the 70th and stuff like that. So I'm like, yeah, I'll pick this up for $1. Nice, Polaris cover. All right, and these next ones are actually pretty cool. So we got X-Men number 5, and I believe this is volume 3. There was actually some really good variant covers in this run. Some of them are actually very scarce, and if you can actually scoop them up, I would scoop them up on the cheap. So this was the first of the $2 books, and I believe this was like one of the 1 in 15 ratio, the 1 in 25 ratio variants. I'm like, oh yeah, for $2, actually, absolutely. Next we had same but issue number 4, X-Men, another one of the 1 in 15s or 1 in 25s. Then we also had this one right here, which is X-Men number 4, but this is the second print, and it was a nice it's a sideways cover there, the horizontal cover. So that was the second print for number 4. And then this was a pretty cool find for $2. I mean, I know, this kind of dropped a lot, and there was also like some, I don't want to say controversy, but a lot of people were like, oh, first appearance, blah blah. But this is like first cameo appearance or whatever, and so this is Star Wars Mace Windu, Jedi of the Republic number 5, and this is like the first cameo of Ahsoka in canon. So again, there's a debate. I think she was like in one panel or something like that. But hey, Ahsoka's a cool character. I don't think she's going anywhere. And to scoop up like those first appearances or cameos or whatever early for $2. Yep. And the last one that I picked up. Oh, actually, no, that was the last one. Sorry. So that was all the books that I got from that vendor right there. So I thought that was pretty cool. Found some nice little minor keys in there. This next vendor was just 2 books. They had $1 bin section or $2 bin section, and then was it $2 or $1? Maybe it was $1 bin section. It was either $1 or $2. And then the other ones were half off. So this first one was from either $1 or $2 bins. And I thought this was pretty cool. This is Avengers: The Children's Crusade, number 1, but the third print. Some of these actually, if you look on eBay, I think this one in particular goes for like $20-$30. So to find it in a back issue bin for $1, $2, yeah, I'm gonna scoop this up all day. I believe there's a couple more variants of this, as far as like some either 1 in 25s or 1 in 50s and stuff like that. They can go for pretty good money too. But I was like, hey, I'm gonna scoop this up. Some of these characters they have already appeared in the MCU, but some of them might appear, especially some of the younger characters might appear later on. So I'm like, yeah, why not? So, and then the last book that I got from there, so I got, like I said, 2 books from here. Oh, this was from Comics Enterprise, actually. So, it's this one right here. And this is Sergeant Rock number 408. And if anybody is a fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger and a fan of The Predator, they know that this book was in the movie. One of the soldiers, who I believe was also the director of the movie, was actually reading this comic in one of the scenes and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool. I found it in there. They had it listed for $8, but it was half off, so I ended up getting it for $4. So I'm like, absolutely, for $4, I'm taking it. So I thought it was pretty cool. Awesome Andy Kubik artwork and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, scooping that up all day. So nice little find there. All right, this next one, I believe I got all of these books from one vendor. The first books were all labeled. I think they were all like $2. Then there was one that was probably the most expensive book that I paid in the entire show for one individual book. So it's pretty funny. So the first book up is this one right here, and it is Ultimate Fallout number 5. No significance to this. Obviously number 4 is the big one. Number 3 is also worth something. The rest of the books in this run are not really worth anything, but I figured, I think I have issue number 4, it's like second print or something like that. Might as well just get the whole series, right? I think there's only like 5 or 6 issues anyway. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just get the whole damn thing. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. Whenever I can find some of the issues on the cheap, I'm just going to pick them up. And for $2, I'm like, yeah, why not? Next one is this one right here. Thought this was pretty cool. and this is Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 22, and this is actually the first appearance of Speedball. He's right there on the cover. Thought it was pretty cool, but also what I didn't really know about this, I knew this was the first Speedball, but this is actually the first artwork on Spider-Man by Mark Bagley. So this is the first time he actually worked on Spider-Man. Didn't know that. I thought it was in one of the other books. I didn't think it was in the annual. So I'm like, hell yeah. Thought that was pretty damn cool. Next we have this one right here, and this is Fantastic Four 273. This is the first appearance of Nathaniel Richards. It's also the origin of Kang Prime. So thought it was pretty cool, right? I believe Nathaniel Richards, I want to say it's the dad of Reed Richards, but then like he's from the future and he came back, and you know, it's a whole craziness of like time travel, and you know, obviously Reed Richards and his family contributing to Kang. So that's awesome. But you know, again, it, you know, $2. Why not, right? I know it dropped in price, and Kang as a character has kind of diminished because of the whole controversy with you know, the actor who played him in the show, and kind of messed it up because Kang's actually a decent character. Hopefully X-Men 97 kind of like revives him a little bit because he was in that as well, but we'll see. Next, we have this one right here, and this is Fantastic Four 185, and I believe this is the first appearance of Nicholas Scratch. He's the son of Agatha Harkness. It's also the first team appearance of the Witches of New Salem, and so this was kind of like in the Agatha All Along show. They kind of like teased Nicholas Scratch. It did turn out to be like you know, a cat, not her son or something like that. So they kind of, you know, went in a different direction. It is what it is, but it's still a nice, you know, little key issue. And again, for $2, why not? Next, we have this one right here, and this is X-Men Legacy number 275. And this is the final issue in that like legacy run that they did. They kind of cut out X-Men for a little bit, for, you know, 20 issues or something like that, and made this like X-Men Legacy run or something like that. Maybe 40 issues. I think it was like 230 something to 275. But this was an awesome Mark Brooks cover, but it's also a newsstand copy, so it actually says it down there. So I know, you know, everybody sees the barcode like, oh, it's just a barcode, but if I can focus, probably not because this camera sucks. Let me see if you can see it in this one. Maybe right there it says newsstand, so it'll actually say newsstand on it. So I thought that was pretty cool for the final issue, newsstand in this era. I'll take that. And then the last book that I got from there, which is probably the most expensive book that I got, and it is this one right here. It's Uncanny X-Men number 282, and it's the first appearance, or first full appearance of Bishop. Well, actually, I think the first full appearance is in 283. But first appearance of Bishop, and it was $10. But I'm like, you know what? It's a newsstand copy, so that's the only reason why I actually bought it for $10. If it was just a direct, I probably wouldn't have bought it. But for a newsstand, sure, why not? You know, Bishop is awesome. Obviously, he's in an X-Men 97 show, and I can't imagine that he will not be in live action, right? It's like, come on, there's no way he's not going to be in live action, right? So definitely scooped that up. But yeah, that was pretty much the most expensive book that I bought. So just to give you an idea of the books that I picked up, right? I didn't pay much. So this next one I thought was pretty cool. The vendor had anything that was, I think, $10 and under, or it was either $10 or $20 in certain boxes were half off. So I'm like, oh, okay, you know what? I'll go dig into this. The first one is this one right here. And this is a book that I've been kind of like eyeing on for a while, but just never picked it up. It's Fear Agent number 1. This is the first print. There's a couple other printings of this. I think there's one that like has like partial color and stuff like that. And then there's like another one in like a image first or something like that, but this is the first print, and you know, this one has been optioned like a bunch of other indies, but I think they've written a story or something like that or whatever, so you know, but I think it's pretty cool. And this is also like an homage cover to Weird Science Fantasies number 29. It's actually a Frank Frazetta cover, so that was pretty cool. And for $5, hell yeah, why not? And then the next book I got from that, I only got 2 books, and it's this one right here, and this is Wolverine number 131, and this is actually a recalled book. So Wolverine, in this one, I believe Wolverine calls Sabretooth like a slur, or Sabretooth calls Wolverine a slur or something like that, a racial slur, and they recalled this. So you can, either by opening the book and reading the panel, or down over here where the barcode is at, if that number says 131 and then there's a 2, that means that's the corrected one. If it says 13111, then that's the original, the one non-corrected. So thought it was pretty cool. This is and it goes for a little bit. So I'm like, why not? All right, so this next vendor, thought was pretty cool. They also had a $2 section and a $1 section. So let's take this out of here. I bought a couple books from this vendor. So the first one up, I believe this was in the $1 section, and this is New X-Men number 133. This is the first appearance of Dust, like that. But again, any minor key for like younger X-Men characters, especially with the mutants coming into the MCU, you gotta scoop it up on the cheap. Next, this was from the $2 boxes, and it's this guy right here, and it is Azrael number 15. This is part of the Contagion storyline, but as you can see down here, it is a cool DC Universe logo. I don't particularly collect these, but I know a lot of people do, and this can go for a little bit of money. So I'm like, yeah, why not for $2? And then the last one, which I thought this was a cool find, one that I've actually been looking for a while. It's one of those things where, again, there's a controversy on it, but I'm gonna scoop it up, especially for $2. And it is this one right here, Mystic number 15. It's a cross-gen comics, and again, you might be wondering, what the hell are you getting Mystic 15 for? Well, this supposedly is the first unofficial appearance of Harry Potter in comics. There's in this book, there's like a bar scene or something like that, and there's a bunch of like characters, and there's a bunch of unofficial characters, right? There's a character that looks like Doctor Strange. There's a character, a bunch of like DC characters, Marvel characters, and they're all like crossed over in here. Obviously, they don't mention anybody by name, but the likeness is there. And then there's also a boy in there with the glasses, has a partial like little scar on his head, and he looks like Harry Potter, right? He has like a wand in his hand or something like that. So again, that's why people are saying that this is potentially the first appearance of Harry Potter in comics. A lot of people are like, no, it's not, because it's unofficial. Blah. Hey, you know what? I think it's pretty cool. It's one that I've been looking for a while. Every time I look through the Mystic boxes, this one's always missing. So I thought it was pretty cool that it was there for $2, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna scoop this up. All right, so the next one, let me see. I believe I got all of, yes. Okay, so all of these next ones, I got from one vendor. So let's get rid of these. So this next one is from the next vendor. And like I said before, I've been trying to scoop up any of these Ultimate Fallouts, and we got this one right here, Ultimate Fallout number 2. Again, no significance to these, just trying to get the entire run. Why not, right? All right, next, and I believe these were all like $2 as well. So for $2, what are we gonna get again? Another Punisher Armory number 1. Why not? Again, it's selling for $15 bucks or whatever, $20. I can get it for $2. Yes. Next is a book that I was kind of just getting for myself. I've been trying to get all of the Death covers. I know it's a little morbid, but hear me out. It's Death like in the Marvel universe, DC universe, and like any other universe out there. So this is War is Hell number 13. And as you can see, Death is on the cover right there. I believe she started on issue 9. She was on the cover, and then she's on 10, 11, 12. So, and I think I have like issue 10. But, you know, whenever I can scoop these up on the cheap with Death on the cover, I'm going to scoop them up. Next is one that's interesting because I just bought this in a set because I wanted this one book, and I ended up getting a bunch of other books. And lo and behold, I found it again, you know, for a couple bucks. And it's this one right here, and this is Superboy number 4, and this is an Art Germ variant, so an older, earlier Art Germ, but it's actually a male character. He's more prone to draw females. That's what a lot of people know him for. But that was pretty cool. I know in was it like Long Story Short? They were talking about this book. I remember Mr. Longshort was talking about like he's never really seen this. He's like, you know, and he was kind of like eyeing out for it, and I just happened to find it. So maybe I'll get a hold of him because I think I have this is my second copy now. So maybe I'll get a hold of him. I know he's here in Massachusetts, and he's actually pretty close to me. So maybe we could kind of like link up and stuff like that, and you know, you could have one of these copies. So next we have this one right here. I thought this was pretty cool. This is Wonder Woman number 604. This is a 1 in 10 Alex Garner variant cover. Love these covers. I'm pretty sure I already have this one. I think I have all of the Wonder Woman Alex Garners in this run. Or maybe I'm just missing one, but I'm pretty sure I have them all. And yeah, those are just pretty cool. Back issue bin for a couple bucks. Yeah, I'm going to scoop it up. All right, next, you know, people skip over some of these, you know, like cartoon, like, you know, children's books, if you will. But this one right here, and this is Teen Titans Go number 15. And this is the first appearance of K-Wiz Kid. You know, I think he's sort of like a Riddler type character. And then there's the first appearance of Kitten. It's the daughter of Killer Moth. So that was pretty cool. You know, some of these Teen Titan Go titles, that the first volume, some of them actually go for pretty good money. So, you know, when you can find them for a couple bucks, why not? And then the last book that I found there was this one right here. And we're back to Avengers, the Children's Crusade. But this is issue number 9. I believe this is the last issue in that run. And significance of this is actually the first kiss between Hulkling and Wiccan. So, you know, obviously, when you have two male characters, any kind of things like that, some people are up in arms. I believe this book was recalled and banned in Brazil or something like that. The president was like, "Oh, how dare you have, you know, a gay comic," and stuff like that. And you know, they lost their shit, so they ended up pulling this book. But, you know, whenever I can find and scoop it up, yeah, I'm going to do that. So that was pretty cool. All right. So let's get that out of the way. And then I think we're on to the last 3 books. And I believe I got these like on the way out of the con. On Sunday, I was pretty much done, tapped out. And when I was leaving, somebody had, you know, a box, and they're like, "Oh, you know, $5 a book, but if you get 3, it's for $10 or something like that or whatever." So I'm like, yeah, you know, let's do some digging. So first book I found was this one right here, and it is Conan the King number 20. Nice newsstand copy, and I believe this is like the origin of how Conan became King Conan. So I was like, you know, it was hot for a little bit. I think they mentioned some things about it, and I'm like, you know, I'll scoop it up. Next we have this one right here, and this is Mighty Thor number 412, and this is the first full team appearance of the New Warriors. I believe issue 411, the one before it, has like a full like Juggernaut on the cover or something like that, and that's like the other team appearance. But this is the full appearance, I guess. It's Firestar, Kid Nova, Marvel Boy, Namorita, Night Thrasher, and Speedball. And I believe this is the first full appearance of Night Thrasher, but this is the first full appearance of the New Warriors. Yeah, why not? Again, younger characters, MCU, who knows where they're going? Might as well scoop it up now. And the last book I picked up was this, you know, random little Silver Age book in there, and it's Fantastic Four number 95. Nice little 15 center. It's actually in decent condition. Obviously they have a price tag of $200 on it, which that's insane. Because even in like excellent condition in the height of comics, it wasn't $200 book. But this is actually the first appearance of Monocle. Yeah. Don't know who the hell it is. I don't know much about like the Fantastic Four in like the Silver Age, but I knew it's a Silver Age Fantastic Four book, and if I can get 3 books for $10, yeah, I'm gonna do that. So that was the last book that I was able to pick up. As you can see, I didn't pay much for these books. Like I said, the most expensive book individually was $10. And at the end of everything, I spent $98 for, I want to say, 36 books. Worked out to less than $3 a book, 2 something or whatever. All right. So yeah, it worked out to being less than like $3 a book or something like that. So I'm like, I'll take that, or something around that. Yeah. So I thought it was a good day. Like I said, this is what I usually do. I usually go digging through a lot of these, dollar bin books. I don't spend a lot of time going through, wall books and stuff like that. So if in the video, even if you saw me the footage, I don't like hover around and linger and look at like the wall books and stuff like that. I might like pass over them, but I don't like zoom in or anything like that because I'm probably not going to get them. So sorry if you guys want better video and you want to see more of the bigger books. There was a place that was showing, they were like an auction house, I believe, and they had a bunch of like, single digit Batman books that were graded and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure I got video of that, which I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, other than that, I had a great time. Like I said, running into a lot of guys that I know from YouTube or meeting them for the first time. Thought that was pretty cool. Getting to see some of the artists again, meeting Walt Simonson, Louise Simonson for the first time, getting to interact with them. I thought that was awesome. Just a good time, just a good experience overall. I was glad I was able to do 2 days because, doing all this in 1 day is a lot. It's tiring. It really is. And you need that second day to kind of recharge. So hopefully I get a chance to do it again next year and I can do 2 days again. I think it really helped. And but maybe I book earlier because I wasn't able to book a hotel at the casino just because it was just a little late. I wasn't sure if I was going to go for 2 days. So I ended up having to book somewhere else. But it is what it is. It was close by. It was cheap enough. And but yeah, had a great time. Like I said, if I missed anybody that I met, I will try to link their channels down below so everybody knows. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the books. Let me know what was your favorite pickup. If you guys think I did pretty good on some dollar bin diving. And until next time, talk to you guys later. Peace.